Hello, I am David Jennings. I lead our global sales engineering team here in the Webex CPaaS Solutions team. Webex Connect is a product that I'll be taking you through in this video series as a slightly deeper dive into the platform, getting a little bit more technical, but hopefully not too technical. And yeah, let's get into it. Before I jump in, you would have heard Brian already talk about in video one, the disconnect, and kind of the platform product story. So I'm not going to try and repeat his words too much, but maybe a little recap about why we built the platform that we built. So digital natives, Ubers, Teslas, Netflix of the world, other disruptors, they made it look very easy to manage this increasing complexity of all these emerging channels because they don't have all this legacy core business systems on the left-hand side. So challenges around complex communication integration, scale, managing protocols, single points of orchestration, they're not challenges that they face. They didn't come with that tech debt. So the fragmentation of channels and consumer journeys and ultimately delivering poor customer experience is a lesser faced challenge for those guys. The problem for a lot of large enterprises is we pour millions of dollars into apps that promise great digital presence, but yet digital leaders, digital natives still gain ground on us. They still gain ground on these companies, right? They're building great platforms as well. They're building their own IP. And so how do we also start to look at it from a big tech debt, large legacy kind of financial services or healthcare or enterprise type companies? How do we look at it from your perspective and see how we can help you overcome this challenge? You know, we totally appreciate the modern enterprise rely on many systems, applications to power their day-to-day operations. And so this is not about moving away from those systems. This is not about a one-stop shop, potentially wasting years of accumulated investment. We don't believe there is a one-stop shop. We think the market is covered by an ever-growing list of best-in-breed vendors. Many different parts of our own business will probably want to bring their own technology. You've got e-commerce platforms, payment solutions, CRMs, order management systems, fraud management systems, CRM and case management, different transactional platforms. It's impossible to just buy a single data source or data lake and just process this all in one place. The promise of just one CDP even still isn't going to get you everything in one single place. So there's a compelling need to connect these disparate backend systems essentially with these communication channels and create consistent customer experiences. So that's the bit that we focus on. And we do this, which we're going to talk about today, and we've been talking through the series, with Webex Connect. This brings it together. It's a cloud communications platform. It doesn't rip and replace. It acts as glue, connective tissue. It augments, it plays well alongside these existing investments. So let's dive a little bit deeper into what this platform actually is and does, and what's inside this box. So to help navigate through some of the different elements, we've broken the platform down into 6 key areas, and they're the areas I'm going to talk through one by one. The central 4 pillars, they essentially allow you to build and deliver great experiences, right? For your developers or your line of business, working together or individually. You've got your integrations into your own systems. We're going to talk more about that. You've got your business logic and flow builder, drag and drop, if this then that logic. You've got AI conversational capabilities. Of course, AI conversational automation is key in this day and age, especially with all the advancements in LLM. And of course, we wouldn't be a communication platform if we weren't going to talk to you about the communication channels and our rich heritage and the future of messaging that we see there. Around this, we have an enterprise-grade wrapper. So think about control center, service assurance layers, reporting, infrastructure management, those types of things. So we'll also talk about that as well. So I'm going to bring them all to life in a little bit more detail as we go through. Starting off with communication channel management, we think it's the key pillar, really. We, of course, can expose these via APIs, and we can just be a simple API partner for you guys to just send payloads to us and we push to the messaging channel. We have 16 of these channels out of the box. We can even develop custom channels into your own channel of choice. Bring your own channel, we can almost call it. And so a quick overview here would be that we are not just a tier 1 SMS aggregator in many markets, as we're known in many markets, which gives us the best price points, the best deliverability and lowest latency. And there's only a few of those tier 1 SMS aggregators in the world. But we also have a wider range of traditional channels like email, voice, our own app, in-app push SDK, live chat SDK, and I think more importantly, as well as in terms of future proofing, um, we have deep relationships with the likes of Meta, Apple, and Google. But what that essentially means is we've launched first in market solutions on some of these. We have a future-proof platform. So all of your communication channels are under one roof. The advantage for you working on a single platform, you future-proof, you consolidate, and we insulate all the complexity of multi-channel, of what's next, of all of the different channel-rich, channel-aware capabilities that you see across these emerging channels. And I'm talking about carousels and list pickers and rich buttons and all of the ways in which these channels become interactive. And we give you those tools and capabilities in a very easy and intuitive manner within our platform. And I'll show you a little bit about that now. So first up, from an API perspective, simple send, receive message. When you log into the platform, you're going to see some of these services. Each service is a named workspace that addresses a customer interaction use case for some context here. We're not going to go deep into an overview of the platform. We have API documentation available on our developer portal, helps developers navigate all of this, has helpful code snippets and samples that aid that configuration. And so that when we do come back into the services, you can use APIs for outbound communication. You can configure these outbound webhooks, we call them, very easily for incoming events. So an appointment reminder or something like that might be coming in. And we have a set of authentication tokens for enterprise-grade security as well. That's really important. Businesses need those. And so typically in enterprise, developers are responsible for the API integration, but messaging and content is often handled by functional teams in line of business. So we have rich template management capabilities. We have things like WhatsApp template management APIs that can all be managed from within the platform, SMS templates and other things here. And I'm going to show you some of our email template capability as well. So we have an email composer, just one of the channels and one of the kind of richer channel elements that we can show you here. Why I like showing this is because this allows you to do a couple of things. So you can import your own HTML and edit it from within the platform. This gives you rich previews on different devices, which is really cool. So you can see how that comes to life. But what a number of our customers really like doing, our clients really like doing, is using these configurable set of building blocks. We call them conditional logic, and things like partials, so blocks of code that can be consistent across multiple templates that you only edit once in one place. And this reduces the number of templates needed, an organization needs to manage essentially by using if this then that logic, and really drives personalization based off your data. So highly targeted, highly rich, data-driven campaigning, messaging, which is at the core of what I guess one of our value promises is. Okay, moving on to AI. We talked a little bit about this already. Let's go a step deeper. So what do we mean when we talk about conversational automation? So this layer provides multiple options for conversational automation, ranging from what we would call basic, structured, scripted, kind of menu-driven bots to query-based and FAQ bots. And even all the way through to fully unstructured. Of course, the advancements in LLM are starting to cater better for this, but unstructured natural language smart bots. And we even have powerful integrations into bring your own bot. So if you wanted to bring a Dialogflow bot, we are not suggesting that you can only use our own IP when building these experiences. We play nicely, as I mentioned before, and we can integrate into any bot platform, and you can propagate that into your messaging. But if you want to use our own bot builder, we have a rich set of low-code functions in here as well, utilizing best-in-breed libraries in the market, our own toolkit, and essentially we have some routine NLP functions that are very specific to messaging as well, like date time recognition, spell check, OCR, things like that. A quick demo of our bot capabilities. So as mentioned, key aspects of conversational experiences are chatbots. And this is our bot builder as part of Webex Connect. Here we can define our bot. As you see here, we click into our bots, we see things like status, the languages supported, handover instructions. We can configure things like live agent fallback, because of course, if a bot fails, what then happens? That's a very common use case. And we define as well in here things like articles and variants of those, and then start to define responses to that input. So without getting too deep here, I think one thing that's really cool is we can define these on a channel by channel basis. What do we mean by that? So Apple Message for Business, for example, might have rich list pickers. WhatsApp has click buttons and rich cards that you can pull through that are different, whereas SMS is just plain text only. And what this means is, because we have the channel aware capabilities, it prevents SMS and plain text from being the lowest common denominator across these channel experiences. It allows us to focus on delivering the best experience across any channel. Again, one of our key themes, deliver the best experience across any channel, broad but also deep. We want to democratize the experience of building these to allow non-technical folks to participate as well. And going a step further, we also do things within our bot environment, of course, around testing and previewing the bots. And I said I'm not going to go too deep in this session today, but this allows us to curate, optimize the bot based on actionable data, like sessions and a history of all the interactions. And of course, we are introducing LLM-driven bot development. What does that mean? It essentially means reducing training time for developers, automate the learning and efficiency of your chatbot. So again, an ever-evolving toolkit here, with a constantly innovative roadmap. Integrations and setup and management. So just going to talk a little bit about what does this mean. So we think this is a USP for us in the CPaaS space as well. Many companies have what you call a marketplace. So they might have some, here's ones we've done earlier, but we'll talk a little bit about how we can also integrate into basically any system of record on your side. So a quick context set that existing systems are designed usually for specific purposes, like processing a payment. They're not designed for customer experience, and many of these were designed a while ago as well, before the kind of digital age that we're currently in. They were designed to augment, so you don't have to rip and replace. That's why we integrate into any system. We have a set of upcoming integrations that we do build out of the box that you can use, so you can see those on your screen here. Adding things like Epic and Cerner to those, as we know that they are very common platforms within an organization, and we can make your lives a lot easier by building a custom node. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. But unlike vendors who just provide out-of-the-box integrations or marketplaces, we provide the flexibility to integrate with any existing business system and applications that are part of the vendor's tech stack, as well as third-party providers, partner systems. And I think this is essentially where you can tailor the product to you, the enterprise, by building a custom palette of integrations, essentially build it once, single configuration, multi-use, and reuse them across multiple departments and workflows, and control any downstream or changes to those. And you only have to edit it once, and it will essentially propagate or take effect across all customer journeys, which is really cool, really powerful. So diving into custom integrations a layer deeper. So here you see our integration palette. You can see how we go to create a custom node. You can see all the other integrations that are within this section. We're going to have a little bit of a deeper look here. You'll see us navigate through some quite technical components. You'll see us look at things in the platform UI itself and how these are configured. Here's one we did earlier, a Dialogflow one we did earlier, along with all the other custom integrations we have configured in the tenant. As we dive into it, you're going to see here, so we've built a post method custom node for intent detection. You can see the other methods available, the level of authorization we can configure, how we can pass parameters through in a dynamic or a static fashion. Sample response code we have, and we've got that from the other tab, the Google Dialogflow API docs. You can see the parameters that we've configured against those, session ID, and the developers map those responses to node edges or outcomes, success, error, timeout, etc. And then we can test and save this. And whilst this is perhaps a more technical configuration, as I said, the brilliance of these custom nodes is once they are configured, as you see here, they can easily be used by anyone on the flow builder. And you see us here simply dragging our Dialogflow node onto the palette from our list of integrations, quickly configuring some basic details to add intent detection to an existing flow. And this will then essentially, in this case, evaluate an inbound message input from the customer and simply add the past input variable into the node. Just like that, you've seen how easy it is to configure one and reuse it across any flow. Okay, so you had a little introduction into our flow builder there on the previous example. I'm going to bring this to life a little bit more. What is our flow builder? Why does it matter? So traditionally, CPaaS caters to the last mile of essentially procuring numbers and APIs for sending and receiving messages, APIs and SDKs. So we showed you some of our API documentation up front. And whilst that's great, and it does abstract a lot of complexity in itself, it's very developer first and developer only. It still leaves the heavy lifting of writing application logic for automating customer journeys and interacting with business systems, as we saw in the previous slide, to developers. You're not really getting economies of scale. You're redoing everything over and over. You can't quickly respond to changing business customer requirements. You can't quickly configure business logic through pre-built modules and nodes. You want to launch, run in a serverless environment, and you want interactive reports to analyze and optimize customer journeys. And so we provide what we would say is more of a configure not code approach here, helping IT expand its talent pool, a collaboration between technical and non-technical users, eases pressure on IT and speeds up go-to-market. And you can imagine a whiteboarding session, storyboarding easily being reimagined with this Visio-like builder and mapping it onto this canvas step by step. And our platform really does give IT the control over the tools, integrations, and automation capabilities, while inviting analysts, CX professionals, and other line of business users to collaborate across building great customer journeys. One way it doesn't alienate the developer, one way it helps the developer and makes the developer more efficient, is by these drag and drop building blocks. And if we take a quick step in one level deeper into what are these, so we basically created a set of nodes or functions, they could be known as, that package up a bit of code and they perform a task that you don't have to code and build yourself, tailored towards building great communications, right? So think of them as like Lego blocks or a set of building blocks. And we have everything from social hour nodes. So you can just open up a social hours node and say, I don't want to send an SMS between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. And then you can configure that out of hours response to do something different. We have packaged up OTP, multi-factor authentication capabilities. We have packaged up the ability to take variables and take and store and share variables between flows. And including the interaction details, store and track them, and keep context and information across flows and across the customer journey. We also have a custom business logic, so you can write your own code, bring your own code. We have an evaluate node where you can write JSON. And we, of course, have external connections as well. So you don't always want to build these rich integration nodes. You might just want to make an HTTP request to an external API service. You can do all of that from within these drag and drop nodes. And I talked about bring your own code and us trying to make the developers more efficient, definitely not alienate them. So one of the advancements and developments that we have on our roadmap at the minute that we are launching is the ability to apply large language model driven developer acceleration. Essentially, we're integrating it into that JavaScript node where you can bring your own code, provide prompts and queries that use generative AI to produce the code snippet the developer needs on their behalf to be used in the customer journey just by typing in that prompt. Making life easier for them. And of course, if you are not a developer, this is an even more powerful feature for you, essentially turning a platform from low code to almost no code at some point in the future. Okay, so I'm going to bring this to life now in a demo. There's a lot of capability here. The channel you're going to see is Apple Messages for Business. We're going to show a combination of channels. Actually, SMS will be brought in as well. You'll see some conversational capabilities in here. You'll see some NLP. You'll see some of the OTP thing I just mentioned, some payment features and some integrations. So hopefully this starts to make sense if it hasn't already at this juncture. So this flow kicks off. Customer messages in over Apple Messages for Business, and we automate the response. You can see us moving through the flow in the background, and the customer handset shows what's happening on the customer experience side. We want to identify who this customer is. We don't know who they are, so they provide a mobile number, which we do have in our CRM, and this allows us to do a one-time PIN lookup. So we can send them an authentication, 6-digit, 7-digit code. They put that in. We immediately can look them up in Salesforce CRM and say, Jordan, it's you. we've verified you, we know who you are, we even know what you're talking about. Because we're in Apple Messages for Business, we can show them a rich image, we can show them a Nest doorbell, we can show them what they've actually purchased. We can use some NLP in response when someone replies yes, and open text, but we can also use some of Apple's richer capabilities with the list picker, as you see here, to select that option. As we continue to triage through, we're able to then confirm an appointment. So we're integrating now, we're using a little bit of NLP, date, time, day after tomorrow. We know day after tomorrow is, the 24th of August, or in this case, it's the 4th of April. So we can then structure that into a format that the back-end system, the appointment scheduling system, understands and retrieve the available slots for Jordan. Once we tell the system, Jordan has confirmed this appointment, please put that on hold. We receive the information back to say, yep, that has been confirmed, all good. We can confirm that with Jordan, and we can even offer the ability to pay by integrating with the rich Apple capability of Apple Pay. A quick double tap and a look at the face, and Jordan has not only completed his appointment scheduling, but he's also paid for it too. And of course, the brand has saved a significant amount of money on very lightweight customer service experience. So we've talked about the middle 4 pillars. I said there was, I guess, this wrapper, let's call it, around the outside that makes this truly, truly enterprise grade. And to be truly enterprise grade, you need all of this. You need to be able to enforce IT and security policies, actionable insights. You need these controls, role-based access controls for different users and different teams to only give access to certain people who need certain access, read-write capabilities. You need to be able to deliver communications with the latest brand and legal guidelines and opt-in and opt-out policy and consent, etc., that we all manage. We have rich dashboards to evaluate journey data, optimization, manage, renew, and enforce these customer preference and contact frequency policies as well. And this can all be done from a single platform. And it really all should be done from a single platform, because it's the only way to really guarantee you are effectively managing this across the entire enterprise. In fact, one customer told us that they don't know where 20% of their messages originated from. So even just looking into an issue with a short code or a bot or a WhatsApp ID or an email ID or a voice number, you don't have to scrap around looking in multiple different systems. You can manage it all under one umbrella, and IT have access to everything very, very quickly to resolve customer issues or make changes to services within the organization. And the other part to that was the service assurance and infrastructure management. And essentially, none of this would mean anything without being able to monitor the heartbeat. Are your systems responding? Solving problems before they happen, knowing that things are working, and ensuring you have the uptime, the zero downtime updates, the availability, disaster recovery, all required. Handling peaks, highest customer volume. We've deployed some of the largest messaging programs in the world. And so this world-class support, account management, and professional services that come with it, we are a very trusted partner to help you deliver your communication programs. Here's a quick look at some of those enterprise-grade features. So we wanted to show you some of the enterprise-rich features. We can configure tenant hierarchy here. You'll see in the drop-down as we pull it up, groups, teams, roles, and access permissions can all be configured for this. We can allow multiple teams, this means, to benefit from our platform in a managed and controlled environment. I'll explain what that means in a second. Each of these teams has the access to procure their own numbers, assets relevant to that team in that region in a self-service manner. So they don't need to go to IT every time they want to do something or buy something. However, all the while, we have the ability for an overall admin or IT team to have full visibility and control over all the programs. And they can manage all of the reports for the specific services, either across the entire enterprise, or as I said, each team can manage their own reports. So we've talked a little bit about the platform, and just to finish off, some of you guys must be wondering a little bit about Webex and the rest of Webex and where we fit in. So I guess finally, from a demo perspective as well, I do want to touch on that. We mentioned I guess, some differentiators from us and others in the marketplace, and certainly the Webex Advantage is one of them. I'm going to show you a little bit around how we fit in to Webex in general. I think our aim is to power great customer experiences as Webex for businesses to support their transformation. So we are one element of that, and we are just one solution within the Webex CX portfolio. We are a fully Webex branded product alongside the contact center solution, which we're heavily integrated with, and I'll show you an example of that in a minute. And of course, our UCaaS platform, or the Webex app, which includes calling, messages, and meetings. And so we are able to leverage our Webex technology and capabilities to enhance our CX products, essentially, which I'll now show you now with two examples. So I'm going to show you a CPaaS digital channel capability in the contact center, which I mentioned, but also how CPaaS can integrate with the Webex platform as well for a really powerful use case. So first up, in this demo, we have a chatbot journey, essentially over SMS. So we've jumped in halfway through. The customer has now requested escalation to an agent. We've tried to triage them and automate them as much as possible, as we showed in the previous example. But at this point, we can package up all of the previous conversation, all of the history of this automated conversation we have. And when the customer responds chat, within our flow builder, we package this up and we hand it off into Webex Contact Center. And you can see these nodes out of the box here that are performing those tasks. And so when the agent logs into Webex Contact Center, they can easily pick up this chat in their queue. We ensure that they have the full context across the entire conversation. So the customer doesn't have to repeat themselves. The agent doesn't have to ask them questions. The agent can be productive, has all the information available to them. And once they pick up the chat, there's no bouncing the customer around into live chat through links, etc. They stay in the SMS channel that they entered in, their channel of choice, or whatever channel they came in via. It's seamless, it's easy, and it's a happy agent and happy customer. And secondarily, I'm just going to show you how we do this in a slightly different environment with the Webex app. So here you see again, it's a customer conversation. The customer's trying to self-serve. They're in an automotive situation, but they're not talking to a customer service agent here. They're automating with a dealership, a car dealership, and the employees on the ground are remote. So at this point, when we want to package this up and hand it over, we have to do something a little different. We're actually going to pass it into the Webex app, because the agent can be, or the agent in inverted commas, can be deskless and can be walking around using the app. So in this instance, we package everything up as you see here. We're ensuring all of the context is handed across. Again, the agent can pick up the conversation, move into a one-to-one chat with the customer, whilst letting the team know it's been assigned. And they can pick it up like nothing had happened before. Again, the customer has a seamless experience on their channel of choice. They could be on SMS, WhatsApp, insert channel. The dealership staff in this case are empowered, and the business have a fully auditable conversation for their records, avoid personal devices being used. And I think in the financial services space right now, that's a really hot topic for avoiding huge industry fines. It's got a lot of PR at the minute. And it's a really powerful solution to demonstrate, I guess, a solution that integrates with the Webex app across a deskless workforce. So to summarize and finish, we have a proven centralized communications platform. This means providing tools to invite the entire enterprise to collaborate to building great CX, as we mentioned, make developers more efficient, low-code tools, economies of scale, reuse of integrations, all that great stuff. In the second column, we've got enterprise grade. I've mentioned the word enterprise grade over and over again. Hopefully it resonated. So greater controls, SLAs, regional instances, DCs, security. Our platform benefits from being part of Cisco, implementing the highest standards that they maintain across security. And we recognize that is a critical need in the large enterprise high-touch arena. And finally, the Webex Advantage. As I showcased, the integrations we have with Contact Center and the app, we're live with customers in market with those today. These aren't in beta. These are things we're doing with other customers. We'd love to tell you more about some of those in your sector or space, or even outside of your sector. And this actually goes beyond just Webex. You know, we've explored broader Cisco integrations into Meraki's network, DNA Spaces, location-based technology, Thousand Eyes AppD, monitoring software. So again, we would love to help explore how CPaaS can help you take advantage of your other investments in Cisco as well. Thanks for staying with me and listening to this. I hope you understood a little bit more about the platform and enjoyed some of these videos we provided for you. I'm David Jennings, and have a good day.